Hello everybody, welcome to this next video on linear algebra. In this video, this is actually the last video for algebra of linear transformations. So actually I would like to give you a picture where we are in the course of linear algebra. So we have this course of linear algebra. We are now, this is the 60th video. So we have covered quite a lot of linear algebra. So we started with vector spaces. So the first chapter is vector spaces, where we discussed about the what are vector spaces. Then we talked about linearly independent set, dependent sets, bases, dimensions, subspaces. There are so many things we talked about in vector spaces. And then we moved to linear transformations. So for linear transformations, there are so many more things which we have to cover still. But this chapter, if you call it chapter 1, okay, you can call it chapter 1. In most of the books, vector spaces is one chapter. Then you have algebra of linear transformations. Algebra of linear transformations, that is your chapter 2, right? And then we will move on, from the next video onwards, we'll move to chapter 3, which is your algebra of that is matrix representations of linear transformations. That is a quite important chapter, representation of linear transformations. And one more thing, some of the my viewers, they are asking me if I can upload the PDF files or notes of whatever I am teaching, PDF notes. So what I'm planning that in every video, in the description, you will get a link. At least for linear algebra, as of now, I'll do that like in coming days. You will get a link in the description. That will be just the PDF of whatever I am teaching in the video. For example, what I'll do, I'll just take the PDF of this. I'll from here only I'll export this thing as a PDF. Whatever I'm writing, and then I'll make it like available for you people. Because if you are like some people, they don't like watching full video, they can go through the PDF files and they can proceed further. So that is one thing. And another thing is, I already told you that we have a website, Maths for All. The link is given in the description. Link is in the description. And in fact, on that website you will find PDF notes for all the files, notes for all the videos. Anyway, I'll put it here also, so you don't have to work out, but the PDFs are available there. And on that website you will find a section that is called quiz section, and now we have 6 or 7 quiz there for linear algebra. So I'll recommend, and everything is free, completely free. So I'll recommend you people to just go there and try those quizzes, and let yourself know how much you have progressed in this particular course. That is a recommendation. And also one more thing, that this some of the students, they are asking me to cover abstract algebra, but I'll let you know that I'm planning that after linear algebra I'll be completing complex analysis. And I'm getting queries like, what exactly is my aim, which way I'm proceeding, right? So yesterday night I was thinking that what is the aim is that for me, as far as I'm concerned, I like doing mathematics. So I just pick different subjects, whatever is in my mind, right? For example, sometimes I'll pick linear algebra, sometimes I'll pick mechanics, sometimes I'll pick calculus of variations, and then I'll just make videos for those subjects, because I like just teaching and doing mathematics. That is one of my favorite things. So but if you look at what I'm what is the aim for this Maths for All channel, so I will say that I'm planning that you should have, for example, if you are trying for linear algebra, so my aim is you should have exhaustive course. and sometimes some people don't like it because it is a long course. You may not like it, but obviously because in every video you have I have mentioned that what topic I am covering in this video, so it's your choice whether you want to look at that video or not. And because the videos are short, 15 minutes, so in every video you have like one topic at the most, right? Then obviously if that particular topic is not in your subject, you can skip that anytime, right? So my aim is for most of the courses which are in bachelor's or when you are doing post grad, right, for all the BSc and MSc courses. So that is what I am planning for BSc and MSc courses. Everything like all the courses like linear algebra, abstract algebra, analysis, functional analysis, major theory, mechanics, calculus of variations, integral equations, ordinary differential equations. Then we have partial differential equations. We have planned for like partial differential equations, a big plan we are planning to make it from very basic, from very beginning, and we are planning to make it like very advanced version of partial differential equations. That is our plan after complex analysis. So this is what our plan is for Maths for All, right? Okay, having talked so much, let us go back to our subject. Okay, so here is this is the last video for algebra of linear transformations. So I am just citing some results and proofs. I'll give you as a homework. You can do it yourself. One proof I will do, one or two. Okay, so the first result is a linear transformation T from U to V is non-singular, and you should now know the definition of non-singular. Non-singular means 1 1 and on to map. So we are saying that a linear transformation is non-singular if and only if there exists a linear map S from V to U. So we are saying that you have a transformation T from U to V, right? We are saying that this is non-singular if and only if there is a transformation S from V to U, right? Such that if you multiply T and S, you will get IV, identity on V, and if you multiply S and T, you get identity on U. Now it should be clear to you why this is happening, because this means first you will apply S is from V to U, S, and then you apply T is from U to V, so ultimately you will get V to V. That is why it is IV. And here first you will apply T is from U to V, and then you will apply S is from V to U. So ultimately you will get IU, right? So that is why this is IU. So it should be clear in your mind. And in such case, S is equal to T inverse and T is equal to S inverse, right? Okay. So first, if you assume that T from U to V is linear, non-singular, it is a non-singular map, then obviously by definition T is linear, 1 1 and on to, and we know that then T inverse from V to U will exist, right? So that is the definition of linear in non-singular map. It is 1 1 and on to, and we know whenever the map is 1 1 on to, T inverse always exists, right? And also linear. We proved it in the last video that T inverse, if it exists, is always linear. And further, if you do T inverse, you will get IV, and T inverse T is IU, right? So it means that one way is clear, that if it is non-singular, then you get a map S from V to U. In this case, S is T inverse. Now conversely, suppose S and T exist with this property that TS is IV and ST is IU, then we have to prove that T is non-singular, means we have to prove T is 1 1 and on to. So for T1, proving 1 1, what we will do, we'll prove that NT is 0. NT is null space of T. So you will assume that there is a vector U belongs to NT. It means that TU is 0. TU is 0, it means that S of TU will be S of 0, because S is linear, so it will be 0. So now this is STU is equal to 0. Now what is ST? ST is IU, so you get IU over U is 0. So IU is identity map, so it will take U to U, so U is 0. So you will get NT is 0 space, therefore T is 1 1. Okay, now to prove that T is on to, you want to prove that for every U, every V in V, there is a U in U, right, which maps such that T of U is V. So for any V in V, if I take T of SV, what will be that? That will be TS of V. TS is identity over V, and that will be V. So it means that for every V in V, there is SV in U, right? Because S is a map from V to U. So if you take V here, you'll get an element SV here for sure. You call that SV as U. Now if you apply T on that U, that will be T of S of V, that will be V. Therefore, this map is onto. So we get that T is non-singular, therefore T inverse exists. Right, now we have to prove that T inverse is S. So T inverse I can write is as T inverse into IV, and in place of IV I can write TS. Now I can use the associativity law. This will be T inverse T into S. So this will be IU into S, that will be S. And here S inverse will be S inverse into IU. IU I can write as ST. Now I can use associativity. I'll get S inverse S into T, that will be IVT, and that is T. Right. So hence proved. So there is one more result which I'll just write here, and I'll give you as a homework for proof. So the result is, if T from U to V is a map and S from V to W is a map, then if S and T are non-singular, then ST is also non-singular. Non-singular means 1, 1 and on 2. And this is important, that ST inverse is T inverse S inverse. You may use this result. You will use, in fact, you will use this result in many questions. Fine. And then another result is, if ST is 1, 1, then T is 1, 1. If ST is on 2, then ST is on 2. If ST is non-singular, then T is 1, 1 and on 2. That is, T is non-singular. If U, V, W are of finite dimensions, in this D part there is no condition of finite dimension. But in E part there is a condition of finite dimension. If U, V, W are of finite dimensions and ST is non-singular, then both S and T are non-singular. Right? So these are the results. These are actually exercises for you. Don't treat it as theorems. They are just simple problems. So you please do it. Right? Okay. So this ends our chapter of algebra of linear transformations. From the next video, we'll start with matrix representation of linear transformations, and that is a quite interesting topic. And coming back to what I was talking in the beginning, I told you that my aim is for covering maths, whatever is a maths for bachelors, and then postgrad, and also I am focusing on some of the national level exams in India, for example CSIR, UGC NET. That is actually, these things are they are, if I am planning for these kind of subjects, then obviously these papers are automatically covered. IAS, and then GATE, JAM. So they are byproducts of when I prepare for postgrad and bachelor's mathematics, then automatically these subjects will be prepared, these papers will be prepared. If you are preparing for CSI, UGC NET mathematics, if you are taking IAS exam with mathematics as one of the subjects, and then if you are preparing for GATE, if we are preparing for JAM, right? So all these exams will be covered, and that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Please stay connected. Do subscribe to this channel and share the video.